Okay, so as you might be able to tell, I'm Beth the Builder and I have waited far too long to finish this chainsaw carving. So I started it a couple weeks ago when it was still like pretty mild out, but you know how winter goes, it just like suddenly like a freight train is here. And right now it's 40-ish, so I'm gonna take advantage of it to film everything. So I started this a couple weeks ago and I filmed pieces of it, and it just took me a while to get into it because I just was feeling a little bit discouraged about my process with it. But I got some really nice emails from people, like other chainsaw carvers and like wood burners and cool and stuff like that. So like those people, like thank you so much. I really appreciate like the encouragement and also just like reaching out because it just means a lot to me. So thank you. I got some really good advice about being more reasonable about my beginning projects with chainsaw carving. So I should have done like a Christmas tree. That would have been a really great wintry like holiday type of thing to chainsaw carve, and it's simple. I was just like, no, I'm gonna do something complicated and like prove that I've like learned so much. So I wanted to carve Ice King. So he's a cartoon character from Adventure Time and I just love him. Ice King, you know, he's a wizard with icy snow powers and he lives with penguins. So yeah, it got complicated. I also felt really discouraged about my chainsaw because it just was not cutting super good. I was struggling like with sharpening it, but I got some really good advice to use like my rotary tool / Dremel to sharpen it. That's what somebody said that they do. So I took that advice and I did that this morning. I sharpened the heck out of it, so it's probably the sharpest it's been since it first came out of the box. I used my diamond coated bits because that seemed like the right choice. I don't know, I'm not sure that wood carving bits would be effective at all. So I've done this a couple times and kind of like, that's just how I had to manage it, is just kind of like little increments of time because I was feeling discouraged, and that's like, those are just reasonable goals that I could set for myself. So because I wasn't happy with how it was turning out, again, that's where I should have then been doing a really simple design. You live and learn, you know. I want to go like full blown, like balls to the walls, all in, and it doesn't work that way. Like, I am a beginner, so I have to start with beginning things. So that's why I've said this before, like my pumpkins turned out really well. I should have stuck with that, and then I did think about it. I was like, oh, a Christmas tree or like a pine, you know, that would be cute. Yeah. No, I was like, no, I'm gonna do something crazy. Yeah, even though it's a cartoon, which I thought that'll be simple, it's still like, this is, you know, a good like 1.5 feet by like 2-3 feet tall. Might be the biggest piece I've worked with. And I'm working with this white poplar, which I think is on the softer end of wood, but it's also a hard softwood, I'm pretty sure. So, and because of like what my chainsaw, like the power of it can do, it's just a little bit tricky. So I should have, yeah, I really appreciate the advice, and that's what I'm gonna start doing. So next season, I'll start out with some like really simple designs, like trees, mushrooms, pumpkins, maybe a gnome, you know, like the really basic stuff. So had my husband bring this inside a few days ago for me, and before it snowed, so it's not wet, it was not sitting outside, it's also not cold, which I feel like can only be useful. And I'm going to try and clean it up and bring it inside and paint it, and that's where I think it will be the thing I want it to be. But it is more rough than I thought, and that's just word of the wise. Start with beginner stuff when you're a beginner. I mean, come on. Like, get with the program, Beth. But I love all of you chainsaw carvers and wood burning people. You guys are great. You're being so encouraging, and like, I really do appreciate you. And thanks for like hanging in there with me as I figure it out, and just kind of like hopefully encourage beginners to just like jump in and try stuff, because that is how you learn. And hopefully watching somebody just doing it and like showing even my like funky janky process is helpful to people. One danger note. So I was going to carve out the inside of his crown, because Ice King wears a crown, that's why he's magic, with my angle grinder, because I have these round blades for it that kind of carve like a circle. It's really cool. And I'm pretty sure that thing is just a danger trap. It's trying to fucking chop my hands off, okay? And I've only used like the really basic blades because everyone warned me when I got it about the blades I had with it were like wood carving blades, and one of them is like a chainsaw blade, and I've never used that thing because everyone was like, don't use that, it's so dangerous. So that's not the thing I was using. I was just using a basic cutting blade. It's just one of those things that happens. So it skipped off of this thing and flew out of my hands and like knocked my camera over, and obviously like it turned off as immediately as like my hand came off of the trigger for it. So that's why all that stuff is like that. But I was like, fuck this, I'm done with this thing. It's really heavy, like that's part of it, I think. Like I'm 120 pounds, okay? Like I am not a super crazy strong 7-foot monster giant who can like handle some of that shit. It's much heavier than my chainsaw. And I was pissed because, I mean, it's terrifying, okay? This tool just like flew out of my hands, okay? And it like, the butt of it like whomped my left hand, and it was like purple and swollen, and I was like, well, this is embarrassing. Like, this is the shit that I would look at other people, I would be judgmental about it, and I'd be like, what are you even doing? But it was me, I did it. So it's just a good reminder, and I just want to be honest about it because like I think everyone has those tales, and I'm a noob with carving, so it can be like, oh, she's being so stupid and reckless. I'm really not, I promise. I do try and be really careful and like keep my head on straight, not get distracted. It's like with anything, you know, like winter can be dangerous if you're not careful, driving in the snow, being outside when it's -40, etc. All these things can be dangerous, and you can treat them recklessly or you can be a little bit respectful of them. But basically it's just an odds game. Everybody's gonna have one of those times where, you know, you look away for a second, or, you know, I think this angle grinder hit like a knot in the crown of this guy, and it just did not go my way. And I'm lucky that that's it. I had a bruise and it's now mostly healed. That was like a week ago or something. But it's just a cautionary tale. Always use your head and treat this stuff with respect, especially when you're a beginner, but also even more so when you're like a master, you're like a serious professional, because that's when you can kind of like take it for granted and be kind of reckless about it because you're like, oh, I know what I'm doing. I'm a professional, you know? I'm just being completely honest with all the things because I think that's why people like me or something. Maybe you don't like me, I don't know. But that's all the things that happened. I just waited too long. Now there's snow on the ground, it's cold, and I'm just gonna have to like speed it up, get with the program, and finish this to the best of my ability right now. I will just keep at it. This will be the final, obviously the final chainsaw carving of the season, because it's December 1st now. This is when I'm filming this, so. I'm gonna bring this guy inside and I'm gonna paint him. So Ice King is some really basic colors, so that's also really useful. I feel like cleaning him up, sanding him, I'm slightly more happy. I'm not pleased. I'm not fucking happy. I'm not overwhelmed with my skill, but it's closer, I guess. And I guess at the end of the day, that's all you can ask for, is just little incremental, yeah, that's better. Yeah, that's a little bit better. Woo. Painting him is really gonna where you're gonna see my vision come to life. It won't be so abstract or something. So let's do that. Don't be fooled. I am actually somewhat chilly. But it's actually not too bad out. I am very prepared for winter. I wear like 2 of everything, okay? So I got my hefty muck boots. They will keep you dry in a fucking hurricane. I thoroughly believe that there is no such thing as bad weather, only insufficient preparedness and clothing, just like Ron Swanson. So be prepared, okay? So I'm gonna move this guy inside and then we'll get to painting. So, you know, if you're not a great wood carver, or at least you're a noob, all you gotta do is like paint him up real good, and then like it'll still look like that thing. So he's got a crown, he's got eyeballs, he's got his beard, he's got arms, boom, and a nose. So the most prominent thing is his nose, which is maybe a little weird, but that's fine. Again, you know, put a picture here and we'll compare them. I'll get a good close-up of him. So it's very cold, it's 3:20 and the sun's already starting to set. So chainsaw carving is done for the outdoor oh my god, there's so many fucking cars being so noisy. So I appreciate all you wood carvers sending me really awesome advice. I'm going to, you know, head inside and do wood burning things, rock carving, smaller wood carving things that I can do inside. Happy holidays, stay warm. So if you want to support me very directly, you can check out the description below where you can find my email. You can check out my Patreon where that's a very direct one-to-one way to support me, or my Etsy where I have things for sale. So otherwise, keep liking, subscribing, watching. That's all really, really useful to me, and I really appreciate the freaking heck out of it. It genuinely means a lot to me to have wood carvers give a shit about what I'm doing. You can check out my pumpkins right there and the video. Yeah, so I really appreciate the support even when things kind of don't go my way, but I feel like I come out the other side and I'm like, yeah, learn something, positivity or something. And I still try and make the best out of it, that like it does basically look like that thing I wanted, even if my chainsaw carving didn't 100% get me there. Painting him totally did. So stay warm. Thanks for watching. I will have a new video next week, so I'll see you then.
They call me the Ice King. I also make ice.
Cool wood things.